Oliver got with me to get back at my mom. He kissed me right in front of her. Ms. Collins, he said, didn't you say being gay was disgusting? Well, now your son is too. He ghosted me, just vanished. The next time I saw him was 6 years later. Oliver was a big shot, successful and all that. I was stuck taking care of my mom, who was in a vegetative state after a car crash, selling myself to his business partner just to make ends meet. I never thought I'd see Oliver in New York again, much less in my sponsor's home 6 years later. Oliver arrived just as I was about to leave. Mr. Harris didn't like me hanging around his place, so I'd always clean myself up and get out as quickly as possible. I was heading downstairs when I ran right into Oliver, who was there to see Harris. Seeing him again after 6 years, my heart skipped a beat. I awkwardly pulled my collar up higher and said my goodbyes to Harris. Goodbye, Mr. Harris. My voice was as quiet as a mosquito. Harris didn't say anything, just nodded without even glancing my way. But Oliver's eyes were fixed on me, unblinking. As the door closed, I heard Mr. Harris's teasing voice from behind me. Just a little toy I keep around. You like him, Oliver? Oliver replied, he's your guy, Mr. Harris. I wouldn't want to step on any toes. Ha! In a relationship like this, what's love got to do with it? Don't make me laugh, Oliver. I didn't hear the rest. The heavy door blocked out all sound. I stared at my feet for a while, lost in thought, until the housekeeper came over to usher me out. It was hard to get a cab where Mr. Harris lived, and I was exhausted. I walked for a bit, then rested, then walked some more, slowly making my way down the road. I don't know how long I'd been walking when a car horn blared behind me. A black car pulled up, the window rolled down, and there was Oliver's face. Get in. I'll give you a ride. I shook my head. Thanks, but I can catch a cab a little further down. Don't trouble yourself. Oliver frowned. Sean, it's been over an hour. Have you even gone a mile? Who else is going to drive by here besides me? Who are you waiting for? Oliver thought I was waiting for him on purpose. I wasn't. I just didn't want to walk. I was tired. I wanted to rest after every few steps, maybe even just lie down on the pavement and fall asleep right there. He misunderstood, but I was too tired to explain. Talking takes energy, especially to an ex. Oliver opened the car door for me. I didn't refuse this time. I got in and gave him an address. He didn't turn on the GPS. It was my address. He knew it. 6 years ago, on New Year's Eve, the last one before we graduated, Oliver came over. He snuck downstairs and set off fireworks for me. Over the phone, his voice was buzzing with excitement. Sean, get to the window. These are just for you. Make a wish on them and it'll definitely come true. Sean, what did you wish for? To study law at Columbia? You can do it. I shook my head, one hand pressed against the glass, looking down at the guy bundled up like a marshmallow. Oliver, my wish is to set off fireworks with you again next New Year's Eve. Thinking back now, he was probably just acting then, too. He put in a lot of effort to win me over. We drove in silence. When we arrived, I thanked him and, after a long pause, added, drive safe. Oliver glanced up at the third-floor window. It was covered by a dark blue curtain, a patch of blackness. He stared at the window, a smirk suddenly appearing on his lips. Sean, it's been a while. How's Miss Collins doing? I froze. I must have been silent for a long time, so long that Oliver lost his patience, turned the car around, and left. Only then did I manage to croak out an answer. Fine. In the rented apartment, the woman on the bed lay with her eyes tightly shut. I sat beside her, massaging her arm. Mom, I saw Oliver today. He's back in the city, but it's probably just for business. I doubt he'll stay long. The person in front of me didn't react. I kept talking to myself. He asked how you were. I didn't tell him. I don't think you'd want him to know. If you don't, then I won't say a thing. I leaned over and placed my mom's hand on my cheek. Mom, I did a good job this time, right? I didn't disappoint you, did I? The person on the bed just lay there, breathing quietly and steadily, not speaking, not opening her eyes. It had been 6 years. My mom hadn't acknowledged me in 6 years. She blamed me. I knew it. I regret it. I really, truly regret it. For the past 6 years, I've regretted every single minute of every single day. If it weren't for me, she wouldn't be lying here, unable to move even a finger. I closed my eyes, but not a single tear would fall. I just felt tired, too tired to even breathe. There was a time when I didn't want to eat or move. I just wanted to lie there until I ran out of air, until my heart didn't have the strength to beat anymore. Then I could finally be free. I lay on her bedroom floor for a whole day until our next door neighbor knocked. "Sean, honey, I saw your lights were off and figured you hadn't made dinner. I made some pork ribs. Come have some with us." A long, long time after that, right before she and her son emigrated, my neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, hugged me and cried. She said she knew something was wrong that day but didn't know how to help. She remembered that when I was little, I loved my mom's pork ribs, and since I hadn't had them in a long time, she made a pot for me. She said, "Sean, you have to keep living. I want to come back for your wedding one day." That day, after I saw Mrs. Peterson off at the airport, I came home and found a stack of money on the nightstand in my mom's room. Underneath the cash was a piece of paper with a detailed recipe for braised pork ribs. I never tried to kill myself again after that. Even when I thought about it 1,000 times, I'd always snap out of it at the last second. Couldn't die. If I died, what would happen to my mom? I had already killed her once. I couldn't kill her a second time. I couldn't die, but I didn't have the strength to live properly either. Mr. Harris found me a year ago. He said I looked a lot like an old friend of his and asked if I needed money. He said I didn't have to do anything, just be there when he needed me. For me, it was a pretty effortless job. I agreed. I used the money from Mr. Harris to hire a caregiver for my mom. When she was there, I didn't have to do anything myself, so I'd sit in the recliner next to my mom's bed and watch the sun, from its rise in the east to its setting in the west. I could do that all day. The caregiver was a good person. She worried about me being so down all the time, so sometimes she'd have her high school-aged son come over to do his homework. This kid is so dense. His math is a total mess, and he can't even do his homework. His teacher's going to chew him out. "I saw all those awards on your wall. You must have been a great student. Sean, could you help my auntie out and tutor him a bit? I'll make you some chicken soup." I knew she was just trying to find something for me to do. She was a simple, kind-hearted woman who believed that as long as a person kept busy, they could be happy and have something to look forward to. But Mrs. Peterson's son, Kevin, had bad grades and hated studying. He often skipped class and got into trouble. But this time, when he called for help, he didn't call his mom. He called me. "Sean, please, you have to help me." On the other end of the line, Kevin was crying his eyes out. He'd gotten into trouble, broken a bottle of expensive liquor, and couldn't possibly pay for it. He had no one else to call but me. I didn't tell Mrs. Peterson. I just said I had to go out. She was happy to hear it, saying it was good to get out and that people shouldn't stay cooped up inside all the time. When I got to the club, I saw Oliver and Mr. Harris. They were drinking and laughing with a bunch of other CEOs, bosses, and rich kids whose names I didn't know. Kevin was standing meekly to the side, his head down and his face pale. When he saw me, he called out, "Sean." Mr. Harris and Oliver looked up. I hadn't expected to run into them here. I froze for a few seconds before respectfully saying, "Mr. Harris." Mr. Harris laughed. "So you're the rich guy this kid was talking about. If I'd known it was you coming, what was the point of all this? I could have just bought the bottle myself." No one there was an idiot. They all understood what he meant. I didn't know what to say, so I just managed an awkward smile. Mr. Harris waved Kevin away. "All right, you're good. Get out of here." Then his gaze fell on me. "Since you're here, don't make it a wasted trip. Come have a seat. Have a few drinks with us." Mr. Harris was a sharp one. Last time at his place, he'd noticed the way Oliver looked at me. He didn't know our history, but he figured Oliver was interested. They had business dealings, and Harris figured sacrificing a lover for a future partner was a good trade. So he had me sit next to Oliver, and they poured one expensive drink after another down our throats. Oliver was pretty drunk. Mr. Harris got him a sweet and, before leaving, pushed me inside too. "Take good care of him." I stared at Oliver, passed out on the bed, and didn't know what to do. I stood by the door for a long time, wanting to leave but not daring to, wanting to go in but not daring to. Finally, Oliver opened his eyes. When he spoke, there wasn't a trace of drunkenness in his voice. "Sean, weren't you told to take good care of me? Why aren't you coming over?" Oliver wasn't drunk. I stood by the door, watching him prop himself up on the bed. I finally realized I should leave. "You get some rest." "I'm going." "San." Oliver's voice came from behind me, and I stopped. "How much did Harris give you that you're willing to do this kind of thing?" My hand tightened on the doorknob. $3,000 a month. He let out a short laugh. $3,000? You come cheap." After a moment of silence, Oliver walked toward me. "Sean, I'm only going to ask you this once. Are you in some kind of trouble?" "Trouble?" I thought back over the last few years. The hardest part was already over. I shook my head. "No, I just don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. But I still need money." I could feel the air grow heavy with Oliver's breathing. I didn't dare turn around. I was a little afraid to see him. 6 years ago, after Oliver vanished overnight, I wanted to see him every day. I dreamed about him. I had just graduated high school. I was only 18. My world had been turned upside down, and I was so scared, so miserable. At first, I thought that if I ever saw him again, I'd punch him. I'd demand to know why he did this to me. But as time went on, crushed under the weight of massive medical bills and the car accident lawsuit, all I wanted was to see him again. Even if he just showed up to say a single word, at least I would know I wasn't alone. But there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. A classmate told me Oliver had gone abroad to study. His family's so rich they might even immigrate. He's probably never coming back. After hearing that, I slowly accepted the fact that I would never see him again. Life got busier, the burdens heavier, and gradually, I stopped having time to think about him. 6 years. Just when I had started to forget him, Oliver was suddenly back. It was like a conditioned reflex. Just when I thought I had forgotten everything, he had to reappear, reminding me of all that had happened. And now he was asking if I was in trouble. "Oliver, I got through the hardest part on my own. I'm not in trouble anymore. I'm really not. No more school. No more lawsuits. No more borrowing money from everyone. No more hospitals hounding me for payments. No more working around the clock without even daring to close my eyes." "Sean," Oliver bit out, his voice seething. "Does Miss Collins know you're throwing your life away like this?" His tone was filled with contempt. I turned around and looked at him calmly. "Oliver, it's been 6 years. Isn't your revenge over yet? But I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. This little revenge game of yours, neither my mom nor I can play along anymore." Oliver got together with me to get revenge on my mother. The person he'd liked had been bullied because of her and committed suicide by jumping off a building during his sophomore year. His name was Julian, and he was a student in my mom's class, a student everyone at school knew was gay. The reason everyone knew was that my mom was the one who spread it. Julian had a crush. During study hall, he was writing a love letter and got caught. My mom demanded that he read the letter out loud in front of the whole class. Julian refused. He apologized and begged over and over, but my mom snatched the letter away and read it to everyone herself. The letter was for Oliver. At the time, my mom didn't know who Oliver was. Full of disappointment, she asked Julian, "Which girl is this?" The students around them snickered. A few troublemakers whistled. "Teacher, Oliver's a boy." My mom was a very traditional person. She thought Julian must have lost his mind to like another boy. She called him to her office and berated him for the entire break. "Is this how you repay your parents? How you repay yourself? You study so hard, you have such good grades, and you're gonna throw it all away for a boy? Julian, do you have any idea what you're doing? It seems I was too lenient with you before, letting you forget all sense of right and wrong, of basic decency." Ignoring his tearful pleas, she called his parents. His father was a man who made his living drinking and gambling. He was still half drunk when he arrived at the school, and he picked up a nearby chair and smashed it over Julian's back. The other teachers desperately held him back, stopping him from hurting Julian further, but his words were still vicious. "You little bastard. I raised you so you could think about boys all day? You're just like that bitch mother of yours. Shameless. I don't think you should even be in school anymore. If you like men so much, you might as well go sell yourself on the street. Follow in your mother's footsteps, it's better than embarrassing me here. After that day, Julian's sexuality and family situations spread throughout the school. All sorts of ugly rumors circulated among the students. The star student who was once held up as a role model fell from grace overnight, becoming a maggot that everyone sneered at as they passed by. After that, Julian was constantly being disciplined for fighting. Many times, Oliver got dragged into it for trying to help him. I don't think you could call it fighting. It was bullying. Julian was just fighting back. But my mom didn't see it that way. She thought Julian was letting himself go, and she was bitterly disappointed. Because of the multiple disciplinary actions and his plummeting grades, Julian's scholarship was revoked. With a family like that, with parents like those, losing his scholarship meant it was impossible for Julian to continue his education. He went to the office to beg my mom, to ask her to plead with the school not to take away his scholarship. My mom looked at his report card. Scholarships are based on merit, Julian. You brought this on yourself. You have no one else to blame. My mom probably said other things to him that day, shallow, ignorant, stereotypical things about her views on homosexuality. I don't know what exactly, but I imagine they were pretty harsh because not long after, Julian jumped from the roof of the 7-story building. And after that, my ordinary life was invaded by Oliver who wanted to avenge Julian by getting back at everyone. My mom wasn't the first. She was the last. On the day of our final exams, outside the testing center, Oliver kissed me right in front of her. Miss Collins, weren't you the one who was so disgusted by gay people? Well, now your son is one too. Throwing your life away. My mom said those words to Julian 6 years ago. 6 years later, Oliver threw them back at me. He probably hoped they would hurt me as much as they hurt Julian back then, but he'd be disappointed. Those words can't hurt me anymore. Whether I'm throwing my life away or trying to better myself, I don't care. I'm just so tired. Too tired to feel the world. Too tired to respond to anyone's emotions. Oliver's revenge has been long and relentless. Even after 6 years, he won't let it go. I'm not trying to dodge responsibility. My mom was wrong back then, but now she's lying there, unable to move a finger. She can't repent or pay any further price. As for me, the humiliation and pain Oliver gave me back then, I can't really feel it anymore. I can't respond to his anger, and that just made him angrier. What do you mean you can't play along? Sean, a life was lost. All these years, has Catherine Collins ever once said she was sorry? Does she still think she's some great teacher, living out the rest of her days in peace? After 6 years, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, does she ever remember that there was a person named Julian, and that the handle of the knife that killed him had her hand on it, too? My mother's hand, in her role as a teacher, had unknowingly guided the bullying that targeted Julian. But she can't repent in person, and whether she felt any regret before she lost all sensation is something no one will ever know. I'm sorry, I said. It was our fault. My mom, who started it all, was at fault. Julian's parents, who gave birth to him but didn't raise him, were at fault. The students who bullied him were at fault. The bystanders who spread ugly rumors were at fault. And I, who watched it all with cold indifference, choosing to see nothing and hear nothing, was not innocent either. Oliver let go of my collar. You can't say that for her. I didn't tell Oliver about my mom's condition. I know her. She's an extremely traditional person. She followed the rules her whole life. As a student, she buried her head in books. When she started working, she got a stable government job. When it was time to get married, she followed her parents' arrangements and went on blind dates. She had a child at the appropriate age. Her entire life was lived by the book, without a single misstep. But then her husband had an affair. The happy family my mom had been so proud of shattered in an instant. In that poor, backward little town, she became the subject of gossip and ridicule. They said Catherine Collins was incompetent, that she couldn't even keep her own man. The most rebellious thing my mom ever did was get a divorce. Everyone, including her own parents, tried to talk her out of it, saying a divorce would look bad, that she should just endure it. Endure it? Until when? Until I grew up? Until I got married and had kids? Until my grandchildren were in school? By then, someone would just say, "You've put up with it for so many years, what's a few more days?" My mom didn't endure it. To get the divorce, she had a massive falling out with her family and cut ties with them. To get custody of me, she left with nothing. She took me, 6.5 years old, to another city to start a new life. She had lived a respectable, proud, dignified life. And that day, in front of the bustling school gate, surrounded by students, parents, and teachers, including her colleagues and the parents who had sat in her classroom and respectfully called her Miss Collins, right in front of all of them, Oliver kissed her son. "Miss Collins, weren't you the one who was so disgusted by gay people? Well, now your son is one too." What Oliver gave her was humiliation and disappointment powerful enough to destroy her entire world. I still remember the look on her face. In my nightmares, I have never forgotten it for a second. Her face was a mask of shock, shame, self-blame, and heartbreak. I wanted to cry, but my mom's tears fell before mine. "Sean, it's my fault I didn't raise you right. It's my fault, my fault. I know my mom would never want Oliver to see her in this state. I have to protect this last shred of her dignity. It's not just her dignity, but mine too. It's like a long form of self-torture. I can't just tell Oliver we're even. Besides, we're not. What Julian lost was the brilliant life he could have had at 17. What Oliver lost was the person he fell for with all his heart at 17. But I can't blame my mom either, because every single second of the 6 years she spent lying there, suffering day after day, has been because of me. I don't know what to do. It's like being trapped in a narrow alley with thorny brambles on both sides. Every step in any direction is excruciatingly painful. So I just don't want to walk anymore. That alley is dark and endless. I haven't seen the end in 6 years, and I know now that I never will. I close my eyes, feeling like I'm sinking in mud. The heavy sludge pulls at my limbs, and every movement takes an immense effort. It's too tiring. It's just too tiring. Maybe I should just let myself sink. But, "Sean, honey, I made some pork ribs. Come have some with us." I failed my mission to take good care of him. Mr. Harris sat on the sofa, rubbing an antique ring on his thumb, his voice flat. "Sean, the person I had you stand in for is back. You should understand that if you have no value to me, I'm not going to keep paying you." He stood up and looked down at me. "I have a project that could use Oliver's help, but he doesn't seem very interested. However, Sean, I believe you can make him interested, right?" Mr. Harris gave me a contract. He said if I could get Oliver to sign it, I'd get a one-time payment of $100,000. $100,000 would be enough for my mom and me for a long time. I took the contract and found Oliver. I told him the truth about my deal with Mr. Harris. "Sean, it's one thing for you to throw your own life away, but how dare you ask me to help you do it?" I looked at him and said in a low voice, because the last person Julian saw before he jumped was me. He didn't say anything special, but that's a part of the story you don't know, isn't it? I held out the contract. "Oliver, a final memory of your first love. Don't you want to know?" "San," Oliver roared, leaning in and grabbing my shoulders, his breathing heavy as he glared at me, his eyes looking like they were about to bleed. "You're using this to threaten me?" I met his gaze and didn't speak for a long time. The seconds stretched into an eternity. I don't know how long it was before Oliver finally let out a breath. "Sean, I really don't get it. Did you change? Or did I just never really know you in the first place?" I tried to smile at him, but after several attempts, I couldn't even lift the corners of my mouth, so I gave up. Maybe it's like mother, like son. The smile I couldn't manage appeared on Oliver's face. At first, it was just a slight upturn of his lips, but then it grew wider and wider until his shoulders were shaking with laughter. Once he had a good laugh, he sat up straight again, draping an arm over the back of the sofa and tapping his temple as he looked at me. "But Sean, I don't want to know." My face fell. "What? Harris pays you $3,000 a month to sleep with him. Why don't you sleep with me instead? I'll give you the $100,000. After all, Julian wasn't my first love. You were, Sean. Oliver, you bastard. I shot to my feet and threw the paper in my hand at him with all my strength. But it was just a piece of paper, as harmless as my anger. Oliver lowered his eyes. Sean, you can't be the only one who gets to be despicable. I'm no saint either. If you're willing, the bedroom's right there. If you're not, Oliver slowly raised his eyes. Then take your contract and get the hell out. I stood there, frozen. Took all my strength to speak again. Oliver, I could sleep with anyone in this world, but never you. 6 years ago, I got involved with you because I was blind and my heart was stupid. If I get tangled up with you again now, then I really should find a rope and hang myself in front of my mother to atone for my sins. Mr. Harris's deal fell through and I lost my job. He had ears everywhere. He was genuinely surprised to hear I'd turned down Oliver's $100,000. So, for the sake of this golden opportunity, he cut ties with me and offered Oliver some advice. If you want him, Mr. Lin, it's easy. If the soft approach doesn't work, we'll play hardball. Sean has a mother at home who's been in a vegetative state for 6 years. Can't move a muscle. He's not in a good mental state himself, probably depression or something. Medication and therapy cost money. Besides, I hear people with that kind of illness have no energy. He has no degree, so the only way he can make money is through manual labor. But he's sick himself. To put it bluntly, a guy who finds it exhausting just to breathe isn't going to be able to earn anything. Just give him a few days. I've already cut off his source of income. It won't be long before he comes begging. Oliver seemed dazed. It took him a moment before he could ask, his voice trembling. You said, who? Sean. Isn't he the one you're interested in, Mr. Lin? Sean? Every word Harris said was about Sean, but Oliver couldn't connect any of it to the Sean he knew. Vegetative state, depression, no degree? How was that possible? After hanging up, Oliver rushed back to the reunion party and grabbed the first person he saw. Do you know what's going on with Sean's family? The classmate he grabbed looked stunned for a moment. As he tried to remember, another girl spoke up first. I don't know the details, but I don't think things are going too well for him. After what happened with Miss Collins, I heard he doesn't really talk to any of his relatives. He's been handling everything on his own all these years. It must have been really hard. Miss Collins, when did it happen? Oliver asked. The girl seemed to recall something and hesitated. On the day of our final exams. The guy Oliver had grabbed remembered then, too. Yeah, I heard he didn't even finish college. Dropped out his sophomore or junior year. No idea what he's been doing since. Another classmate chimed in. He can't be doing well. Otherwise, why would he be the only one who never comes to the reunions? Exactly. The classmates all started talking at once, launching into a big discussion about Sean and Catherine Collins. It seemed everyone knew a little something about his situation. Classmates who had barely spoken a word to him in school and hadn't seen him in 6 years knew. His sponsor, who only saw him in bed, knew. Only Oliver. Only he knew nothing. Oliver felt like he couldn't breathe. He couldn't hear what anyone was saying. All their words blurred into a long, piercing ring in his ears. At 9:30 p.m., without using GPS, Oliver drove straight to the apartment complex he remembered. It was eerily quiet. The security guard on duty, an old man with a limp, shone a flashlight as he opened the gate for Oliver, grumbling as he pressed the button. Damn it all. Someone had to go and die on my shift. It's pitch black out here. Better get back to bed. This is creepy. Someone in the complex had died. Oliver looked up at the third-floor window. The dark blue curtains were drawn tight, but it wasn't completely dark like last time. A faint light seeped through. Oliver pressed a hand to his chest. His heart felt like it was full of pop rocks, beating so fast he could hardly breathe. Someone in the complex had died. Oliver knew it wasn't Sean, but he was still terrified. The person who had died, was it really not Sean? I was sitting alone on the floor. I don't know how long the doorbell had been ringing before the sound finally reached me. I didn't get up. I just let it ring. I couldn't think of anyone who would come at this hour, but whoever it was, I didn't want to open the door. So, the next morning, I saw Oliver leaning against my door. He looked at me, his eyes bloodshot as if he hadn't slept all night. He looked haggard. He said, Sean, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know which thing he was apologizing for, but I didn't plan on asking. No matter what it was, I didn't have the energy to deal with it. Forgiving or not forgiving, at this point, why waste the energy going through the motions? I didn't say anything. I just wrapped my coat tighter and headed downstairs. My mom had passed away. I had to go see Mr. Harris. I needed money to bury her, and he was the only person I could ask. I knew I wasn't worth much to Mr. Harris. When he was my sponsor, he only paid me $3,000 a month. Oliver was right, I was cheap. But $3,000 wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. Real estate in this city was expensive, and burial plots were even more so. I didn't want to take my mom back to the small town she had fought so hard to escape. That place shouldn't be her final resting place. They say you should return to your roots, but my mom didn't have any. Not in this city either. We used to have a house, but when my mom first had her accident, our expenses were too high. I had to sell it. It was an old, second-hand place in a bad neighborhood, so it wasn't worth much to begin with, and there was still a mortgage to pay off. After covering our daily expenses, there was almost nothing left. Fortunately, the buyer was a kind man. He had other properties and didn't come back often, so he rented the house to us, saving us the trouble of moving. My mom had worked hard her whole life, only to end up with no roots anywhere. But I still planned to bury her here. At least this place was familiar to her. She wouldn't get lost trying to find her way home. So I knelt before Mr. Harris and begged him. I begged him to lend me some money, promising I would work like a dog to pay him back. Mr. Harris glanced at the grim-faced Oliver standing behind me, a smirk playing on his lips. He refused me without a second thought. Sean, I'm not a charity. I'm not giving you the money, and it won't do you any good to kneel until your legs break. But I can give you an idea. The Mr. Lin behind you is richer than I am. Why don't you try begging him? Oliver probably didn't need me to beg. He took a few steps forward and pulled me up from the floor. Sean, don't do this. How much do you need? I'll give it to you. You, Oliver looked down, seeming distraught. Just don't do this. Pushed him away. Oliver, if I use your money, my mom will never be able to rest in peace. She'd probably come to me in my dreams and call me an ungrateful son. Tears streamed down my chin, one after another. I walked around him and headed for the door. Oliver, she would be so sad. She would think she failed to raise me right. That's what she was like. After that, I went to find Mr. Harris many more times, but he never saw me. The person he loved was back and had a new boyfriend. Mr. Harris was busy, playing the villain in someone else's love story. He didn't have time for me. During this period, Oliver tried to find other ways to get money to me, but his methods weren't very clever. I saw through them every time. He practically lived outside my apartment, coming and going several times a day. One time, he was drunk and just stood there crying. He kept saying he was sorry, though I didn't know for what. It was only after hearing so many apologies that I suddenly realized how much he truly owed me. I had just forgotten. 6 years had passed quickly. I was pushed forward by time, and my memory grew weaker. I used to hate Oliver, a sharp, piercing hatred. But over time, those feelings were diluted, and I slowly stopped thinking about them. No love, no hate. I began to forget him along with all the memories he brought. That's why seeing him again after 6 years stirred nothing in me. Or rather, there were very few things that could cause even the slightest ripple in my sick heart. The biggest emotional wave came when I heard Oliver say that Julian wasn't his first love. After all, my first love was you. It made me sick. If everything Oliver had done before had some grand, tragic reason behind it, now he was just rotten to the core. My mom was right. Nothing good ever comes from being gay. Not for Julian and not for me. On the 3rd day of my job search, Mrs. Peterson's son, Eric, came back. He stood downstairs, looking weary and travel-worn despite his expensive, well-tailored suit. I froze. Eric? Sean, are you okay? Just then, Mrs. Peterson got out of the car and rushed over to hug me, her voice thick with tears. Sean, we're too late. We came back too late. I looked at them, and tears instantly welled up in my eyes. 4 years ago, Eric had emigrated with Mrs. Peterson for his job. They called often to ask how my mom and I were doing. I always told them the good news and hid the bad. I didn't want them to worry about me from across the ocean. I told them I was doing great. But Mrs. Peterson would look at me during video calls, her eyes full of pity. "Sean, honey, there's no light in your eyes anymore. You need to be happy." But I just couldn't. I could force a smile on my face, but not in my heart. I patted Mrs. Peterson's back. "Mrs. Peterson, it's cold out here. Let's go inside." She finally let go of me and told Eric to get the ribs they just bought from the market out of the trunk, saying she was going to make them for me. I smiled. Okay. Oliver followed us all the way to the door but had the sense not to come in. He just stood to the side, looking forlorn. I had been ignoring him for days, but today, for the first time, I spoke to him. "Go home. Don't come back again." Oliver gave a sad smile. "I have to watch over you. I won't feel at ease otherwise. It's okay. You don't have to pay any attention to me. Just pretend you don't see me, like before." My expression was blank. "Oliver, for the 2000+ days you weren't here, nothing happened to me." Oliver was speechless. After a long pause, all he could manage was, "I'm sorry. These past few days, I had heard more apologies than in my entire life. I was sick of hearing it. So I said, then I forgive you. Just don't come back." Neither Mrs. Peterson nor Eric asked about Oliver, who was shut outside. They just looked at the urn temporarily sitting in the living room and sighed quietly. In the kitchen, Mrs. Peterson wiped her tears, thinking I couldn't see. She said I was foolish, going through so much hardship and not saying a word to your auntie. Eric rubbed the empty prescription bottle I'd left on the table and asked carefully, "Sean, will you let me do something to help you?" I had no other choice. Right now, no matter how much I didn't want to burden them, I could only say, "Thank you." I couldn't let my mom stay in this rented apartment forever. Eric said he wanted me to go abroad with him to get treatment first and then finish my degree. I was hesitant. I had finally been set free. I didn't want to keep going. Mrs. Peterson, her eyes red, got angry with me. "You silly boy. Eric makes so much money, and if you don't go help him spend some of it, he'll just keep buying those useless, flashy cars. It makes me want to hit him just looking at them. Besides, he's getting married in 2 months. You haven't met the girl. She's gorgeous. She keeps telling us how much she wants to meet you. Listen to your auntie. Go with us and be your brother's best man." Mrs. Peterson wanted me to be Eric's best man. They were the kindest people in the world to me, besides my mom. I didn't want to miss such an important moment. My own affairs could wait. I'd waited this long, what was another 2 months? So I agreed. Getting a passport would take time, so Eric went back first for work. Mrs. Peterson stayed to keep me company. One time, I woke up and heard her talking to Oliver outside the door. "Young man, isn't it cold out there? Sean's asleep. Why don't you come in and warm up for a bit?" Oliver didn't come in. "No thank you, ma'am. He wouldn't be happy to see me." Mrs. Peterson sighed. "I remember you. On New Year's Eve, the year Sean was a senior, you set off fireworks downstairs for him. You two were good friends, weren't you? How did things get so bad?" Oliver was silent for a long time. I wronged him and I wronged Miss Collins. Remembering the car accident, Mrs. Peterson seemed to understand something. If that's the case, then all these years, when Sean was having such a hard time, how come we never saw you come by to help him? Oliver didn't answer. Mrs. Peterson didn't speak either, nor did she close the door. She just waited for his reply. After what felt like an eternity, Oliver finally spoke. I didn't know about any of it. Back then, for Julian's sake, Oliver had taken revenge on many people. He was only 17 and had limited power, so he asked his family for help. His father made him a deal. He would help, but Oliver had to study abroad and cut off all contact with home. Oliver agreed. He just never expected that he would be gone for 6 years. So he really didn't know. Mrs. Peterson snorted and shut the door with a soft thud. "You didn't know? Then you don't need to know now either." After saying that, she turned around and saw me. She looked like a child caught stealing candy, fumbling for a moment before touching her face and smiling at me. I smiled back. Then he never has to know. The day I was packing to leave, Oliver grabbed my arm. Get better. I'll come find you as soon as I wrap things up here. I looked at him and felt a lightness for the first time. I pulled at the corners of my mouth and, to my surprise, managed a real smile. Oliver, I really did love you once. A heart-wrenching, all-consuming love. And then I really did hate you, a sharp, piercing hate. But that's all in the past. Don't come looking for me. Took me so long to forget. Seeing you again would be painful. If you feel even a shred of guilt toward me, then don't make me feel that pain again. Oliver slowly let go of my hand. But there's one thing I want to tell you. Sean, I was never in love with Julian. He helped me once and I saw him as a friend. That's why I was so upset when he died. What I did back then was only because of that, nothing more. Sean, the one I love, I didn't listen to the rest. I turned and got in the car. Who Oliver loved, whether it was me or Julian, was something the 18-year-old me desperately needed to know. But I don't want to know anymore. I'm 24 now. Mrs. Peterson is right. It's still a very, very good age. When I was a little girl learning to write, our teacher assigned us to fill a whole page with the new character we learned that day. I wrote stroke by stroke, so scared of making a mistake. But kids are kids, and mistakes are inevitable. Every time I messed up a single stroke, I'd tear up the whole page and start over. I tore up more than 10 pages that night. And then what? I asked, sipping my pork rib soup. Mrs. Peterson smiled, the laugh lines on her face deepening. And then my mom said I was wasting paper and chased me around the house with a broom. My mom told me then, you can't tear up the whole page just because of one wrong word. If you do, you'll get a spanking. Mrs. Peterson looked at me. I knew those words were for me. I nodded. Auntie, can I have another bowl of soup? When I was 18, I wrote a word wrong. For the next 6 years, I kept trying to tear up that page. But it was just one wrong word. Maybe it wasn't enough to ruin the rest of my life. The pork rib soup was delicious today. It slid into my stomach, warm and comforting, and reminded me of a line from a book. The noodles, coated in broth, slid into my stomach. In that moment, I wanted to feel something, to cry. The noodles were good. I'm glad I didn't die yesterday.